Welcome to Good Food and Tours Jamaica, and today we are making some Irish potato pudding. Yes, you heard me right, not sweet potato, but Irish potato. Making this is going to be adventurous, different, but still tastes good. Alright, let's talk about our Irish potatoes. So me and my husband, we have a little Irish potato farm, and I was wondering to myself, what can I create from Irish potatoes? And I was like, why not make pudding from Irish potato? Because we make it from sweet potato, hey? And we harvest a lot of tiny, small potatoes. So I was like, I'm going to eat and give away the big potatoes. But the tiny ones now, I'm going to use it for the pudding. Makes sense, not sure? Nothing now waste. Let's work out how much Irish potato I'm going to add to this pudding. I primarily want the starch to be of Irish potato, especially since I'm using a small pan, right? Making pudding, you add other starches like cocoa and some yam. I'm only adding one cocoa, some white yam, just a little piece of the white yam. I'm going to start by peeling my yam. Yes, the yam kind of look a little bit old, but I think I can save some of this. I put down this yam for a long time, Alright, I'm using a knife and a fork to peel the yam because I don't have no gloves and I don't want no itchy skin. I'm allergic. So anybody want to criticize, you can go and criticize, but I do not want to end up with any itchy hands or itchy skin afterwards. I'm just going to peel off that bad part, peel it off. Then I'm going to chop up my yam in small pieces because I'm using the blender to make this pudding. I am a modern girl who loves the old time same thing. So I'm gonna find a modern way to make the old time same thing then, right? Alright, so we're done with the St. Vincent yarn. Hallelujah. Let me clean up a little bit, Now we're finally going to peel our Irish potatoes. We can use a vegetable peeler, or you can just use your knife you have in your yard. Now, because I'm using the small potatoes, it's gonna take a while. So I peel a little potato them. Now, if the potatoes are really tiny, I just drop them straight into the water. I do not need to cut them up further. The potatoes that are a little bit bigger, I'm just going to cut them up and put them in the water. And now it's time to clean up with the help of my little assistant. Now it's time to peel our cocoa. No, but you're supposed to use a gloves or use the fork to peel it like how I peeled the yam before, because cocoa can also scratch your hand. You can even rub on some vegetable oil to create a barrier. But we did tired for peel up, so me just reach this let me just hurry up and peel this, and if you scratch me, scratch me. Thank you God, say never scratch me this time. Cocoa is a root vegetable, ground provision, similar to the yam, yellow yam, and sweet potato. Cut it up just like how I did the Irish. If you do not want to use the white yam that I used, you can use any other yam, like yellow yam or mozilla yam, once it's a good tasting yam. Now I'm going to go ahead and just grease my container from now. I love to get it out from early, that when I'm finished mixing, that's not the time that I'm going to go ahead and grease the container. No, it greased already. You can grease with a little butter or margarine. I grease with some chiffon margarine. Now let's move on to blending everything together. I added in some water, and now I'm going to add some coconut milk powder. Yes, I am a modern girl. So I throw that in and let it blend. Add in some brown sugar, then some vanilla, because I love my vanilla, some cinnamon. Now I reach for my nutmeg, which I store in an old baking powder container. Alright, so we're going to grate in half of a nutmeg. You could just drop the nutmeg in the blender because it would blend it out, but I do not want to put any extra pressure on my blender. Reach for a big thumb of ginger. That is a really big thumb of ginger. And I'm going to just cut it in. It was washed already. Now, you know how the recipe always say a thumb of ginger. Look at the ginger, pretty. Like, how do you know what a thumb of ginger is? Anyway, all right, so we're going to go ahead and crack our coconut. Yes, I'm a modern girl that use coconut milk powder, but I am going to also use some natural fresh coconut. I'm only going to use just a little bit, and I want to get that texture that the coconut gives and also some real natural flavor. And now I'm going to go through World War III just to hooks out the little coconut. And you wonder why me's a modern girl love my coconut milk powder. Anyway, this is a trick that I learned. You take a knife and you just slice up the coconut meat in the skin, the hard shell that it's still in. And then you take a table knife and just pluck it out. See? Pluck! It comes out much easier because the coconut meat has been sliced up. Did you know something to the right? Anybody watching this probably have a better way of taking out the coconut meat than me. Alright, so this is the amount of coconut that I'm using, and I'm just going to cut it up in my blender. This is going to add some more flavor and also some texture to my pudding. Started to blend, and then I was like, wait, I forgot my chiffon margarine. And I was like, yo, I forgot the rum too. I mean, these are both flavor boosters. So I'm throwing some Jamaican rum and my chiffon margarine and started to blend again. Now, after it blend good, you're going to pour out just a little bit and leave it to the side. Then now I'm going to add in my starch. I'm starting with the Irish potato first because it's called an Irish potato pudding. I do not want to add all of the starch one time and then it becomes too hard for the blender to blend, or it's too much starch for the liquid. So it's best to start out with the Irish potato and then just go on adding the starches them at a time. But you know, say it did perfect though. All the starches were added in and it never did too thick. So this was very good measurement on my behalf. So after everything has been blended out really good, we're going to pour it into a container and work on our starch. Yes, we're going to add in more starch. We need some binders to really bind this pudding together. So we're adding in some flour, some cornmeal powder. Why would I just say cornmeal? And some whole wheat flour, and we're going to mix that together in a separate container before adding it into our liquid. Now, Mrs. Walker Barrett is a chef that taught me in culinary school, and she said that you need to mix all the starches together first, because if you don't and you put them in individually at a time, it gonna clump up, you know. But guess what, they have to add in some little bit more flour because it is too loose. The texture or the consistency of the batter was a little bit too loose, so just a little bit more flour to thicken it up. Now I had some soaked raisin, just some raisins soaking in some water. I added a little bit flour to the raisins, which I think I didn't need to do anyways because the batter was thick, so the raisins would have not sunk to the bottom. Anyway, so I just put them on top and just stir them in. I could have mixed the raisin in the batter before, but we're working with it. We're moving on. And I filled up my baking pan a little bit higher. Like you're supposed to leave at least an inch or 2 inches away from the top. We're gonna learn today why you're not supposed to fill it all the way up to the top. So after 30 minutes in the oven, we are going to take it out and just pour on a little bit of this liquid that we reserved from the blender. This is the custard top part that every Jamaicans love talk about, the pretty part on the top. Alright, so we slap it back in the oven and allow it to finish bake. Now, after 1 hour, you can see what happened. Why? You must not full it all the way up to the top. As on a cake me a bake. Me never put in no baking powder or no baking soda, so why it rise up? Why? Alright, so me just try put on a little bit more of the little custard topping thing. And me learn today. But it's going to sink right but down, or as we would say in Jamaica, shrink after it has finished baking. I tested it and it was a little bit too wet, so I'm going to bake it for another 30 minutes. So in total, we baked our pudding for 1 hour and 30 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And after the extra 30 minutes, this was perfect. After the pudding cools down, it's going to further firm up. So I wanted to try something new. Like I wasn't trying something new already by making Irish potato pudding. I'm going to turn on the broiler on the top to see if I can get it more caramelized. So I did that and I watch it, because look here, sometimes I want to go on too extra, the thing burn and mess up, so I paid very close attention watching to see that burn up. Anyway, I said, alright, that is good enough. I am not going to push my luck. I got a little bit more browning and I was contented with that. So I'm just going to allow this to cool down, and look how it's pretty. Wow, oh my lord, I can't wait to taste it. Well, I couldn't wait to taste it. So pretty, man. Oh, my grandmother and my mother passed through, and she couldn't wait, and them couldn't wait until the pudding cool to taste it. Them like, no, cut piece for me now, and I give me some. I too, so me have to cut out the pudding before it firm up. So guys, this is why the pudding they look so soft. So I'm gonna cut out one slice, boom, for my grandma, and I was like, alright, that's okay. Me not have to worry. But then my mother start look for me, so if I could go cut out one another slice to my mother. And I was like, alright, that's okay. Me survive, this will survive. But then my daughter start look for me too. Somebody have to go and go cut out one another piece for my daughter. Boy, give you no joke. After me done cut out one slice for my daughter, she, when me turn my back, start cut out one piece for herself. That is why you see there's a little line in what's left of the pudding. So I just cut it down. So the pudding finally cooled down, and as you can see, the texture has changed. It is now firm. So it's time for me now to taste. It looks so pretty and I'm so excited. Something new. Let's explore. Let's see what our taste buds are going to tell us. This definitely tasted delicious, but it also tasted different. It gave you that same taste that is associated with pudding. Homely, spiceful, and of the Caribbean, of Jamaica. And look at that nice custardy top. That is actually like caramelized coconut and ginger. I only had one critique. I would not add the cocoa in it because I have a really sensitive palate. I can taste things and it kind of a little bit overpowered the taste of the Irish potato, especially since Irish potato is very subtle in taste. But all in all, I'm definitely going to make this recipe over again, exploring with different starches, using yellow yam this time, probably not using the cocoa, and it was so still good. So cheers for exploring, being adventurous, stepping outside of the box, and still not stepping out too far, because this of course is still a Jamaican classic, making some pudding. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more exciting content like this. One love.